Firefighter Eisele. I'm the driver for Engine 16 with Henry County Fire Rescue. Today, let's take a look inside. Today, looking from the driver's standpoint, we're going to go over Engine 16. Engine 16 is a 2016 Pierce Saber. First, we're going to go over some of the components that a driver utilizes responding to an incident. So we've got our emergency warning lights that helps us move vehicles out of the way and allows them to see us going down the roadway, along with our sirens where they can hear us going through intersections and hear us coming up behind them. We've also got numerous different lighting features for scene lights while we're on scene. So the next component we're going to look at is our mobile radio unit. This is a way for us to talk to other fire units. It's responding to incidents along with our dispatch and firefighters on scene. We utilize headsets as we're driving the apparatus down the roadway where we can clearly hear our officer, other firefighters in the unit, and dispatch as they're talking to us over all the road noise and apparatus noise as we're responding. One component that we utilize as a driver operator that's one of our main jobs is pumping at a fire. So once we get to a fire incident, we want to get water through our apparatus and into the hose lines to the fire itself. All right, looking in the back of our apparatus, we have several different items of equipment. First thing being in our cabinet here, we've got all of our water rescue equipment, so our safety vest and our helmets for that, along with all of our ballistic vest and helmets. We've got flashlights that helps us illuminate the scene, and a lot of times we'll keep our fire gear in the back of the apparatus as well. Looking in the back seat today, the first item we're going to go over is our Knox box. All of our engines here have a Knox box. What that is every business that we have in Henry County has a box on the side of their building that this key, once our driver types in their code, gets this key out, will gain us access into the box on the side of their building and allow us into that structure. That way, if we have a fire alarm or fire at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, that we have access without awaiting a key holder. Other items we have back here is our self-contained breathing apparatus. These are in each seat that's easily removable. Once the firefighter dons the SCBA, they pull a lever and this comes out of a bracket. All of these apparatus are mounted in a bracket in the seat that keeps them secure while going down the road. This is what all of our firefighters use when going into structure fires or any kind of immediate danger to life health atmosphere. All right, a few other components that we have in the back of our engines is an AED, an automatic external defibrillator. So if we have a patient in cardiac arrest, we're able to assist them in applying AEDs to them on scene. We also have ways to start IVs and intraosseous access to our patients, and rescue plungers to assist us in doing CPR on our patients. We also have an EMS medical cabinet that houses our EMS bag with all our BLS equipment and medications and other extra equipment that we may have. On the exterior of our apparatus, we have an easy access door to gain us access to our BLS bag. Once we get on scene, we're not having to climb back into the apparatus to get it out, and it allows easy access once we get on scene to pull our bag out and quick access up to our patient. Passenger side is our officer seat. So every apparatus has an officer in charge. The officer in charge is responsible for deciding what we're going to do and what actions we're going to take once we get on scene and everything therefore. Our officer side houses our laptop. The laptop that we have in our apparatus gives us directions to our fire scenes or incidents. It gives us information about the call that we're going to and keeps us updated for any changes that we may encounter. Over here we also have our thermal imager camera. This helps us see once we go into a structure that has limited visibility and find any hidden fires that we may encounter. We also have an SCBA that's in the seat over here on the officer side, as well as our back seats. So taking a look at our pump panel today, this is one of our main jobs as driver operator of our engine. Once we get on a scene, this is how we're going to supply water throughout any of the hose lines or operations that we do. All these valves control a different line itself, and each one of these lines are capable of getting at different pressures for different size hose lines, different appliances we may use, and the different needs that we may have on a fire scene. So we have intakes where we take water in from our hydrants, and we have discharges to where we can actually discharge water out. We have several discharges, including these two here, along with any hose or appliances that we have coming off the apparatus. Our intake is what our hydrant hooks to. This is a 5-inch intake that we have here, and then we have a 2.5 intake that's right here. So when operating our pump, we have a throttle control here that allows us to change the pressures of any of our hose lines. And we also have our master intake and discharge where we can watch what we're effectively putting into our pump and out. We also have a foam system on all of our apparatus that allows us to put class A, B foam into any of our hose lines that we have. In our first compartment we're going to look at, it houses a lot of our extra hose that we have, our supply line to hook to a hydrant, and it also has different appliances that we may utilize and tools. So a few things that we have down here is a LDH hose that we use as a squirrel tail to supply water from our hydrant to our intake just for a very short distance, usually about 30 foot. We also have extra small diameter hose lines for adding hose to any of our current lines that we have. And we have spanner wrenches, hydrant wrenches. Our hydrant wrench, for example, assists us in connecting to a hydrant and turning the hydrants on and off. Our spanner wrenches, as these are here, assist us in tightening down couplings and attaching our appliances to our fire apparatus and our hose lines. Our next cabinet here houses an array of different nozzle types that we have, depending on what our requirements are on the scene, how many gallons per minute we're going to be flowing out of the hose line, and how big of a reach we need to get with it. We have anything from smoothbore nozzles to fog stream nozzles, and we even have up here our foam adductor to supply foam throughout our hose line. So in this compartment we house extra self-contained breathing apparatus bottles. So once our firefighters go into the structure or any IDLH environment, once they run out of air in a bottle, then they can come back out, we can swap their bottle out, and they have more air. We have our gasoline for any of our small engine equipment. We have extra oil and bar oil for our chainsaws. We have a wood saw on this apparatus, for example, helps us getting trees out of roadways and small debris. We have fire rakes on here, help us if we have a wildland fire or brush fire, then we go around and try and stop a break around that. On the bottom shelf here we have our hydrant bag. In our hydrant bag we have several items. This assists us in connecting to our hydrant once we get on scene. So once our firefighter gets off the apparatus on the scene to connect to a hydrant, he'll grab this bag, our supply line off the back of our apparatus, and make the connection to our hydrant. So our next piece of equipment we have here is called our high-rise pack or our metro pack. This is utilized for if we have a high-rise building, we can go up in the second, third, or higher floors and make a connection to our standpipe system that we have there. Charge this hose line in the stairwell or the floor, and then make an attack on that floor or above. This is 3-inch hose that we can use for a supply for that as well. We can also use this as an extension onto our 2.5-inch nozzles or extending a hose line itself. Next item we have is our RIT pack. This is every fire scene that we have. This should be utilized. We'll set a crew specifically for our rapid intervention team, and they will have this pack with them. This assists us if we have a down firefighter or even a down civilian. We can go in and make a successful rescue with this pack. Alright, off the back of our apparatus we have several different hose lines that we can utilize. The first being our 2.5-inch hose line, and this is an attack line that we have. So we have a smoothbore nozzle on this, and we can flow around 324 gallons per minute out of that. We have our supply line. Once we get to a fire scene and make a connection to a hydrant, the driver continues on to the fire scene. This hose laces off the truck, and then we hook it into our fire apparatus to supply water. We also have a 3-inch hose line that we can use to make a supply connection, or we can supply our Blitz fire nozzle with it. Our next compartment that we have over here is for our ladders. We have an array of different ladders on an engine. First being our attic ladder. Our attic ladder is a small foldable ladder that we can get into tight, confined spaces with, gaining access into attics and small areas inside a structure. We also have a 14-foot roof ladder, which we're able to put on the roof of a residence or a structure to provide more stability when we're up on the roof working. Then we have a 24-foot extension ladder that allows us to gain access onto any type of roof that is within those limits. This next compartment, we house our portable generator that allows us to make connections for any kind of electrical equipment away from the fire apparatus. We're able to just plug them straight in, utilize our extension cords for lighting, different power tools and such. We also have a power block that allows us to plug in different equipment, kind of like an extension cord. Next piece of equipment we have is our positive pressure fan. This allows us to ventilate a residence or a structure and help us get the smoke out to where it's more visible and the atmosphere is breathable. Next shelf we have up here is some of our absorbent mats, absorbent picks for fuel spills, small fuel spills, such like that. Then we have our utility rope and our water rescue rope that's up here on top. Our next cabinet that we have here houses two 2.5 gallon water cans and a spare oxygen bottle for our medical calls. This compartment houses an ABC fire extinguisher and 2 more extra spare SCBA cylinders for our SCBAs. The next compartment houses a lot of our hand tools. So we have our bolt cutters that assist us getting in gates, any kind of small locks, master locks and such. We have pry bars, we have our flat-headed axe and our pick-head axe, and we also have our Halligan bar. A lot of times we'll carry in our Halligan bar and our flat-headed axe, which is called a set of irons. This can be utilized to force entry into pretty much any structure, vehicle, anything with a locked door. And then we have different pike poles and roof hooks. This allows us to go in a structure, pull sill ends, walls, find hidden fires. The next compartment that we have here houses some medical equipment, which is a bender device. What this does is assist us in, if we get a medical call to assist somebody up off the floor, we can put this device around them and 2 firefighters effectively lift them up off the ground. We also have road cones to try and keep us safe on the roadway. We put these out behind the apparatus and hopefully divert the traffic and get a little bit safer. We have our salvage covers and tarps in here. This can be used for salvage, putting belongings of residents in a room, putting a salvage cover over, protecting them, and there's a lot of other things that we can do with those. We have a water cooler for just supplying water while we're on scene. And then we've also got our extension cords that we utilize on scene for running anything that we have electrical back to our generator. On this side, other side of our pump panel, we actually have a few hoses that come off. We have our booster reel up top. This is just pretty much for washing down roadways and small fires on the side of the road. We have our 2 primary attack lines that we have here, which is 1.88 lines. Those are 200 foot. And we can get it 150 gallons per minute minimum out of those. We also have a few discharges over here. So we've got our LDH discharge for supplying other apparatus or relay pumping. And then we have small inlet for our 2.5 inch, 3 inch hose here. And then we also have our other 2.5 inch discharge here. All right, on the front of our apparatus here, we have a box that houses another attack line. This is a 1 inch and 3/4 hose line that we have a nozzle attached to. There's 100 foot that's on this initially. We actually have extra hose that we attach to it if need be. We've also got another scene light on the front here that helps us find addresses and helps us see once we get on scene. Another thing that we have up here is our sirens and other emergency lighting and warning signals that we have up front.